Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about politics, and we're going to talk about the midterms, and we're going to talk about why the Democrats are going to pick up seats in the House and even in the Senate. Now, I know you're watching the news or hearing people talk, and they're saying the Democrats are not going to pick up seats. I know that people are saying the Republicans are going to pick up seats. Even CNN, different news sites are saying this. And I'm about to tell you why they're wrong. So here's the deal. They're not psychic. First of all, they're just not psychic. They're not even that smart. You don't even need to be psychic. You could just be smart and astute and look at the energy that is happening around and kind of get an idea that the Republican Party is literally coming apart at the seams. Now, here's some telltale ways that you may be able to see this for yourself. First of all, what do we have but an actual bill in the Senate sponsored by bipartisan, both parties, sponsored by Cornyn and a lot of senators that were very pro-gun and anti any of the things in this bill. And now this bill is scheduled to pass this week, possibly even by tomorrow. Now, what happened? Well, first of all, the guides, my spirit guides, if you're new here, welcome. I talk to my spirit guides pretty much on the daily. And they said the energy has changed. Why? I don't know. But for some reason, this year, the energy changed. After Buffalo, after all the shootings that we've had today, Uvalde this year, terrible, terrible, terrible shootings. Americans are finally waking up and saying, wait a minute, we don't want this. Why are these Republicans continuing to make it easier for people to get guns? Every state legislature said, oh, we're going to make it harder. They've literally made it easier. They've taken away any restrictions, any licensing here in Texas. You basically can have any kind of gun anywhere you want and be happy to use it whenever you want. Now, interestingly enough, Republicans are so full of themselves that they believed that they could get away with this, despite the fact that polling across America states otherwise. Polling has been very high for red flags, for background checks, for all of these very basic things that the Republicans have actually repealed in their states in the last 2 years. The polling never changed. The Republicans did. Now they're going to pay the price. So we have that going. Now, why all of a sudden are these Republican senators jumping on board all of a sudden and saying, hey, whoa, no, we're going to pass this bill? Well, because they can read the writing on the wall. They finally looked at the polls. They've also been looking at their own culpability in Jan 6. They know they need to do something to rework their own image. Okay, so they are busy at work trying to build a new version of the Republican Party, one that actually listens to citizens, pays attention to what they want, and acts on it. So that is the main reason why they jumped on this. And also, I think some of them can read the energy, and they know that the gig is up. They've got to do something. Now, this is going to come at a price. These Republicans that took this action, they're going to pay a price, because regardless that 80% of Americans want, common sense gun reform, there's that 20% of Looney Tune nut jobs that don't, that are the Trumpers. The Trumpers are against this. They're against the Republicans working with the Democrats. They already are upset at all of these politicians that signed on to this bill. So it's only going to get worse for those people. Now, something else that needs to be said that explains why the Republican Party is really coming apart at the seams. here in Texas. Texas GOP had their convention in Houston, and it didn't go so well. Now, in the past, Texans, Republican Texans, have been a little pushy against the leadership. They haven't really been kiss the ring kind of people down here. So that there is some history to this, okay? But way worse this time. This time, Governor Abbott, the governor of Texas, came to the convention. He did a little talk on the first night, no problem, and then proceeded to see how the rest of his compadres were treated. You're talking about John Cornyn, also the senator who sponsored this new gun bill. This was before he sponsored the gun bill, so you can imagine what it would be like now. He got booed off the stage. Even the Houston congressman, his name escapes me, but he wears an eye patch, and the crowd at the convention, the GOP Texas convention, started chanting, "Eye patch McCain." Now, these people don't like McCain because Trump has decided that McCain was a bad man, and so all of these Trumpers hate him too. Well, apparently they hate anybody that was a veteran because this guy lost his eye in combat. So that's why he's wearing an eye patch, but that's how disrespectful they were to him at the platform. All this leading up to the final night, the final headlining speech of the GOP platform in Houston, and our governor did not show up. He chose not to get on that stage because he knew he was going to get booed off. And he'd really rather not have video of that. Doesn't work too well when people run against you. So this is happening in Texas. And it's happening across the board in the United States. What's happening is the Republican leadership has gotten into office by hook or by crook, mostly by crook. And they have gerrymandered the districts to the degree that some percentage of Democrats that live in those districts, their votes are rendered useless. They might as well not live there, not vote, because it doesn't matter. They're going to be outnumbered because the way the district was drawn. Now, if you want to look up something interesting, look up Red Map. The Republicans created this program a while back called Red Map, and they decided that they would make the map red, make the districts red, and that's what they did. They literally set their sights on redistricting and gerrymandering the United States, and they've done it. So this is how this leadership has gotten into office, not through the votes, the majority votes of their own party. So they're in thin ice, and they're on much thinner ice come the midterms, because we all know that Trump doesn't like any of them. As a matter of fact, Mo Brooks, isn't that his name? He just lost to Trump's anointed one who's running against him. Lost the primary. So we're going to go into the midterms with a bunch of kooky weirdos that Trump has decided he's anointed, and or some even kookier weirdos that the majority of the Republican Party, who is now basically run by these Trumpers, are going to put forth. That doesn't match. It doesn't match the leadership. What do they say? The carpet doesn't match the drapes, folks. So here's the thing. The Republican leadership have created Frankenstein. Frankenstein is Trump. They allowed him to have power, and he got loose. Now he's running around the country creating a bunch of baby Frankensteins, which are the Trumpers. And the Republican leadership has no control over them. Zero control. Because these Trumpers don't respect the Republican leadership at all. And we know from races that have already been run that when Trump says stay home, they stay home. And or if their person isn't running, they're going to stay home. Now, if the anointed Trump nominee is running, those crazy Trumpers are going to go vote for them. But who's not going to vote for them are the fiscal, conservative, normal, rational Republicans. They're going to vote for the Democrat. Now, on top of that, let me just put some whipped cream on top of our sundae, which is, oh my gosh, all those kids that have spent decades doing school shooter drills are now of voting age. And they're really upset because now, abortion, what? Taking away our rights, talking about taking away all of our very few things that we get to have. No, that's not going to happen. Those kids are PO'd and now they're in the streets. They're voting. They're going to create long, long lines of voters. This is going to create a very unique midterm. Really new, really unique. I don't think the pollsters understand what's happening. I don't think they're not polling the right people, and I don't even think the CNN is polling anybody. I think they're just making it up because it sells advertising. It gets eyeballs. People want to see, what do you mean the Republicans are going to win, right? Everybody tunes in to see what that's about. Well, it's about nothing. That's what it's about. Now, I'm not saying that we can sit back and relax, because we can't. We absolutely cannot sit back and relax. Actually, we have to work harder than we ever have because, as you know, the other obstacle to voting is that they routinely clear the voter rolls. I've been taken off the voter roll for no reason. So I know other people have too. So we need to educate people. We need to be really busy in your state advertising if there is a website where they can go and check their voter status. And honestly, you need to check your voter status all the way up to the last day before the election. You need to make sure your status is good. And the other thing that we need to do is register folks to vote. All of these newcomers, all of these kids that are now, and I say kids, but I'm talking about anybody under 35, they're all ready to vote, but they don't know how to register. Where do you register? How do you register? What do I need? Those people need a helping hand. So please consider becoming a registrar for your state. And then get a group of friends together, hit the park. Hit any place where these kids are. Coffee shops. Even malls, movie theaters, any place. Just register people. Universities, right? Universities and campuses. There might already be a student group that's registering people. See if they need help. Maybe they can open up 2 tables on 2 sides of campus. Don't just assume that the student organization is going to be able to do it all. They might really need some help. They might be very understaffed. Churches, gyms, any place you can think of, we need to register these people. They are there. They want to vote. They are the people in the middle. They're not R's, they're not D's. They're just working people that are trying to raise their family, that are trying to go to school, that are trying to just live their lives. Didn't care about politics, still don't care about politics. But now, you're talking about taking away all their rights, and they're starting to get worried about all the gun violence. And now they're thinking, I got to get involved. I got to do something. Help them out. Register them to vote. What else? All of these things. Also, the day of. Then this is really important, guys, and I'll talk about all this all summer long, so don't worry. The day of voting, of course, early voting as well, but specifically the day that we vote. We're going to need a lot of poll watchers because there's going to be some shenanigans that are going to happen. The Republicans, it's already been leaked, some of their shenanigans they're going to be doing. So we need a lot of people to just be a poll watcher. Call, text, email your local Democratic Party, see what they need, help them out, right? Listen, Spirit is always saying, if you're feeling depressed about our current situation, a surefire way to feel better is to take action. So take an action. Call your local Democrat's office. See what kind of help they need. Decide what you're willing to give. Because when you have an understaffed office, they can be very pushy or needy. So let's make a boundary before we call them. What you're willing to do. I'm willing to give you 1 hour a week. I'm willing to give you 3 hours a week. I'm willing to work every other week. So let's not overburden ourselves, but let's do something, right? So some of the things that they could use are poll watchers. Also, I know in the South that a lot of times we drive people to the polls. So if you have an elderly person who can't get to the polls, or you have a person who doesn't have access to a car, some of us spend the whole day being a taxi service, a free taxi service. We literally drive them to the polls and drive them home. Now, of course, you don't want to drive somebody 30 minutes necessarily, right? You have to make these decisions for yourself. Again, boundaries. But there's so many things that you can do. The day of the election, they just keep showing me these long lines of voters. And I mean, a quarter mile long line of voters. And again, we need help at that time during that day to make sure that all those people can get in to vote, to make sure that if anybody needs anything, they can get it. Just to assist with anything. You may also work for a campaign if you want to. That's fine as well. But this is how we're going to win, guys. So there's a lot of work that we're going to be doing, but there's also a lot that's going to be given to us. So let's take advantage. Let's take advantage of this implosion of the Republican Party. Let's take advantage of their weakness. Let's make it count. Let's all do something. Let's all get involved and do something, okay? So that's how we're going to win. I can't tell you right now because it is early, but we are going to pick up seats in the House, and we are going to pick up at least 1 Senate, if not 2 Senate seats. But, as we get closer, we'll talk more about that. We are going to pick up some seats. I hope that it's enough to overcome Manchin and Sinema. At the very least, we can knock them out. And if we're lucky, we'll be able to add a few extra seats to that. But listen, the energy supports us, not them. Hopefully this energizes you and makes you feel better about everything and gives you that, pep in your step to get out there and help the Democrats win this year in the midterms. Thanks for watching, you guys. Take really good care. We'll talk soon. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. I just wanted to give you a little heads up that I have a new class that I'm offering. I'm pretty excited about it. It's a how to connect with your psychic senses class. So if you've ever had an experience where maybe you've seen something out of the corner of your eye. Maybe you've heard your name called, but no one was there. Maybe you smelled cigarette smoke, but no one in your house was smoking cigarettes. Maybe you often say or even think to yourself, I don't know how I know, but I just know. Or I just have a feeling that this is happening, and I've come to know that my feelings are pretty spot on. Or perhaps you've said, I don't know how I knew to pull over and check my tires, but when I did, it's a good thing that I did because I found that there was a nail in them. All of these things are indication that you are very intuitive, that you have the ability to use your intuition, and that means psychic abilities. Listen, all of us are psychic. Honestly, we all are. Some of us are more open to our abilities. Some of us are more open to our intuition. Some of us aren't. If you're a little bit more open to your intuition and you've had experiences in the past, or you would just like to learn how to use your intuition or to have some more information about becoming or using your psychic abilities more, this might be the class for you. It starts July 5th. It goes for 6 weeks. It will be 2 hours long. It will start at 7:30, I believe, Central Standard Time, Central Daylight Savings Standard Time. And it's going to meet every Tuesday for those 6 weeks. Now, the class is recorded, so you can always come back and watch it anytime, especially if you happen to have missed a class. Now, something also important about this class is that, well, besides the fact that I'm teaching it, I'm teaching you for the first hour. I'm going to tell you about each of our psychic clairs. That is our psychic senses. Psychic seeing is clairvoyance. Psychic knowing is claircognizance, right? I'm going to teach you each clair, and then we're going to practice the clairs. We're going to practice using our psychic abilities, our intuition. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've taught this class before. I always enjoy it. People always tend to enjoy it. And I hope you're interested in it. If you are, do me a favor, check out the description of this video where you will find a link where you can click to learn more. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. You guys take good care. We'll talk soon.